Today I want us to check about the steering system in your car. And here with me I've got a steering rack. I'll just name its components. Here we've got the rack and the rack end. Here we've got the tie rod and the tie rod end. We've got the steering rack itself. We've got the rubber boots. And here we've got the steering column that is now connected to the steering wheel. I'll do a very simple illustration just to help you have a clear picture of what I'm talking about. And kindly, do not judge my drawings, you say? Blessed are those who do not judge my drawings, because God will be merciful unto them. Anyway, here I've got a steering wheel. Then over here is what I'm calling the steering column. Now into the steering column, over here we've got this part over here that now is responsible for bringing the hydraulic fluid or the power steering fluid. Then over there we've got the rack itself. It goes either sides. And there's that. And then we've got tires. No, tires don't look like kidneys, but anyway, I hope you get the gist on either side. Now over here, we've got, I'll just draw like this to illustrate the racks. Then over here, we've got now from the tie rod ends, the tie rod and the tie rod and the tie rod ends, and the same to this other side. So this one is my steering wheel, the one that you turn inside your car. Here we've got the steering column. Then you see this part I drew over here. This one leads to the power steering pump, all right? Power steering pump. And this pump is driven by as in it has a pulley over here. So let me just write a pulley that is now driven by the serpentine belt or by your engine. So the engine is responsible for the running of the power steering pump. That is why when you've not yet switched on your car, the steering wheel is really hard to turn. But once the car is started, it becomes much easier. Why is it that they introduced power steering? That is because if you don't have any assistance from the car, trying to turn a car, even a small car, it's hard. Now try imagine driving a very big car. There's a lot of friction because the tires are in contact with the road surface, and now it will require a lot of force to try and turning the wheel. That is why we have the power steering system. Now this system uses something we call power steering fluid. Power steering fluid is now what provides the hydraulic pressure to ensure the correct movement and the proper movement of the steering rack components. However, these components, due to normal wear and tear, they result into failure, or at one point or another, they can fail. Inside here, I don't know if you I think the camera can at least focus over here. We've got seals in these places. All right, you can also see we've got these hoses over here. These pipes are responsible for redirecting the hydraulic fluid or the power steering fluid to ensure the hydraulic pressure is well maintained. The purpose of the seals is to ensure that there are no leaks from the system, and at the same time prevent contaminants like dirt or debris from getting into the system. However, if you drive through floods, people are always, you always get warned that don't drive through floods. Why is that so? When you drive through floods, remember these boots I talked about? I don't know if I can pull this one to show you. Inside, there's a joint. And now this joint is greased. You can see there's a lot of grease on it. Now the purpose of these rubber boots is to ensure that the joint is well enclosed such that no dirt particles get into it. Try imagining dirt plus grease. Then it's a very thick substance which eventually will lead to maybe the seizing of this joint. So there'll be no this movement. You see how it's moving up and down, up and down. If the grease is contaminated, then this movement will be hindered. If this movement is hindered, when you try turning your car, the car cannot turn the way you want it. Another thing is that when water gets into it, when water finds its way into these places, it results into corrosion because this is metal. And now metal and water, they result into corrosion, formation of rust, which hinders the movement. All right, there are a number of measures that you should take into consideration, you as the car owner. Understand one thing, when you're buying the car, the whole idea is for the car to serve you longer and serve you better. One mistake we do make is using the wrong fluids. This one is our fault, honestly. So what happens, the don'ts, I'll call them the don'ts. When we talk about the don'ts, is using the wrong fluid. Most of us have fallen victim to this, personally included, way before I was really conversant with how cars work. You find that most people, they prefer using the likes of ATF instead of the legit power steering fluid. You know, you go to your mech and your mech is telling you ATFs have the same purpose. Understand one thing, there's a reason as to why the manufacturers were specific to you using the power steering fluid. Understand one thing, if you go for an old car, maybe ATF will serve you just fine. But when you talk about the modern cars are very sensitive, modern cars are very particular, modern cars require proper care. Okay, you don't gamble with these ones. You gamble with them, they gamble with you. So always ensure if you have a modern car, use the right, and I use the right power steering fluid, okay, that is recommended by your manufacturer. All right? When you use the right power steering fluid, then you can be assured of one thing: the system will serve you long. The system will really, as in, it will give you the satisfaction of owning that car. Another thing is what we call abuse. Okay? And what do I mean by abuse? Do you know, sometimes I've seen some drivers, they're trying to take a turn, then they're like this. It's like they're fighting with the steering wheel. You know, as in they're very rough, very violent about it. I mean, why should you be rough? Just do it systematically and slowly in a conditioned manner. You want to turn this side? Okay? Don't fight with the steering wheel, honestly. Because what happens is when you turn it too fast, it's like you are pushing it, you are aggravating the movement. Aggravating the movement, it's leading to accelerated wear and tear. Soon the seals will be on their way out. Leaks come in. The steering wheel cannot turn as it should. All right? So ensure that how you use your car, treat it gently, it will treat you gently too. Another thing about abuse, still on the point of abuse, we have off-road cars. And off-road cars are specifically built with the whole idea that these cars can pass through water. But now when you talk about your Nissan Note, when you talk about your Demio, when you talk about your Vitz, these things are not meant to go into deep waters. When you take them into deep waters, it results into corrosion. It results into contamination into the system. When the steering system gets contamination into it, then what results into it? It will fail on you. And then let me tell you, replacing this thing is not easy. It's not easy, by the way. It's not cheap. It's expensive. That is why I insist on you taking a lot of care with your car and ensuring that you're treating it right. You know, for all these systems, may it be the steering rack, the entire system, may it be the rack and the rack ends, the tie rod and the tie rod ends, the steering wheel column, the shaft boot, we've got all of them here at Precision Automotive. So if you've got any steering issue, come here at Precision Automotive. The first thing we do, we diagnose it. After we diagnose it, we advise. After we advise, we get you the parts. After we get you the parts, we fix the parts. And after we fix the parts, we ensure that by the time your car is leaving our garage, it's as good as new. Right? So I hope you've learned something new on how to go about taking care of your steering system. It's about you. How you treat your car, it treats you the same way. How you go about minding its business, it will also mind your business, and it will not fail on you when you need it the most. So finally, kindly consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. This is where I share informative videos, informative tips related to car issues that are very beneficial to you as a car owner or even as a driver. So kindly consider subscribing, and I'll highly appreciate it for real.